Okay, what is up? It's been a while. I wanted to talk about social expectations and just how get less social as you get older. And I see this because I saw this meme on YouTube. It was like so one part was like it was like a little video. One part was like friends at like 7 years old, how your friends acted at seven. And basically what it was you'd be sitting on your sofa like watching TV, I don't know, watching SpongeBob or something, right? Watching YouTube, and you'd hear a ring at your door, ding dong, and you got excited like who's at the door? Who's at the door? Because you might know who it might be, and you go and open the door, right? You run to the door, you open it up. It's your friend. It's your friend right there. He's like, "Yo, you want to come outside? It's a nice hot summer day." He's got a soccer ball in his hand. He's like, "Yo, you want to come outside? Like me and Josh and Jacob are gonna go play some soccer." You're like, "Okay, let me go ask my mom." So you like slightly toe the door and go to your mom and you ask her, you're like, "Can I go outside to play?" And your mom's like, "Oh, who is it?" And then you're like, "Oh, it's Josh, Jacob." And she's like, "Okay, okay, just be back by whenever, sunset. I don't even know. 2 hours, right?" And so you go and, you literally just go back to the door. You wear the shoes that you see, the first shoes you got. You go out with the same clothes you have on, right? And you just leave. Like, there's no, "Oh, I gotta get ready, I gotta do all that." You just go outside and you start playing. There's no plan. You guys just start playing soccer. If you get bored, someone else just suggests like, "Oh, have you heard of four squares?" And you're like, "No, what is four squares?" And then they teach you the game. You play that game. I don't even know what else we used to do then. But yeah, that was pretty much the meme. And then the second half of that video was like friends at 26. It was like dystopian. What happened was, it's just this guy on his phone. He pulled out his phone. He was in like a really lonely bedroom environment. He was just on his bed sitting there. He was texting his friend. He's like, "Yo, you want to meet up tonight at 6:30?" And his friend replied, he read the message and he replied, "Oh no, I'm busy tonight. I got this and I got that," right? And then you're like, "Oh, what about tomorrow at 8?" He's like, "No, I also got this thing." And so you slide out of his text and you go to the next person. Let me text this person, right? "Hey, you free tonight? I was thinking we could go out." They just don't even read your message at your home alone that night. And I think that's exactly what happens to most people as you get older. I'm in that transition phase, right? Where I'm still kind of like, I still have like that freedom to do what I want, but now I'm entering like adulthood, 17, right? And what I've noticed is that if you don't build in time for friends, for these social events, you will lose all of that interaction. You'll have no one to talk to because the truth is, for the majority of people, no one wants to talk to you. Everybody's got their own thing going on. And I think everything after COVID just made it worse, where everybody's just at home all day. They weren't allowed to go out with friends. And I think there's multiple reasons. I'll give you I think three or four that I think are the biggest impact. Again, COVID is like the first one, which is COVID just made it so that everybody stays at home. Nobody really went out. Nobody went out to talk to people. And that made like virtual interactions more normal, right? And for me, growing up, again, I think Gen Z is like that transition phase of in-person to technology, where when I was smaller, I had most of that like in-person environment where I would go outside. I think boomers were called like latchkey kids, where their parents just let them go out, do whatever. I still had some restrictions, like, okay, don't stay out after sunlight, don't go like past this park or whatever. We had like a Dairy Queen close to our house, and my mom would say, "Okay, don't go past the Dairy Queen, and don't go past like this park that was like a little far from our house." I'm like, "Okay, whatever." She would just let me go. I'd go wherever with my friends. We'd bike around, all that stuff. And she was like, "Of course, don't break any laws." We broke one law. It was no big deal. We just rang someone's doorbell. What happened was we rang his doorbell. He came out at that same second. We're doing that thing where like you ring it and you run away. He came out that same second and he's like, "Hey, what you kids doing?" And we just started running. I was so scared because I was the one who rang the doorbell, and yeah, we ran like crazy. And then one of my friends' homes, we went inside his house, but he didn't let me inside his house, so I had to hide behind his trash can while this guy got in his car And he searched the whole neighborhood, and after like 15 minutes, we're still, by the way, we're still hiding there behind the trash can. Me and one of my friends, and then the other two just went inside their house. They didn't even let us in. They're scared to like open it up. And the police came by, like they were driving by looking for it. I'm like, there's no way this is a coincidence. They definitely called the police. So we just stood there in fear for like 30 minutes, just talking behind this trash can. And eventually we waited, and the police was gone after like 10 minutes. We just ran back home, and we didn't go outside for another 3 days. We're like, this guy's gonna find us. But we were good. We didn't get caught. But yeah, I mean, that was like the stuff we used to do as kids. But now it's like you're expected to have a plan, like 4:30 I'll be here. Okay, at 5 we'll end up here. At 5:15, I gotta head out. I gotta start driving back. Of course, I get it, right? You get more responsibilities as you get older. But the thing is, we're also punished, and this is part two. Reason two why I think it's harder to get social interaction is we're punished for this social interaction. So what happens is, we want to go out somewhere, but the thing is, going out somewhere costs money. It costs me having to dress up. It costs me having to, I don't know, maybe if you're really dirty, I have to go shower. I gotta go, whatever, right? You gotta go really get ready just to go out to this one place for maybe 2 hours. And so in your mind, it just comes off as like, oh, that's so much work. It's just so much work to have to do all that, just to go out. Of course, some people are willing to do that work, right? But again, after COVID, everybody's just kind of lazy, like they wear the same clothes at home. Some of them work from home, right? They got all that stuff on. It's like, I gotta like shower and get ready again just to go outside. Like, you know what? I'd rather stay at home and watch some Netflix. Like, that's how some people think. Let me just stay on my phone and whatever people do, right? Scroll Twitter, watch YouTube, whatever they do. And I think like that's understandable, because it is work to go out. It really is. And I think if you don't build it into your days, what happens is you never get to meet anyone, because like I said, no one really cares about you. That's the harsh truth. And everybody got their own thing. And I think one of the third things is also that like everybody's just scared to ask. Like nowadays it'd be really weird if someone pulled up to your house, said, "Hey, you want to go here?" But what people don't consider is the level of presence in that question. So let's go back to when you were 7, right? You're watching TV, I don't know, SpongeBob, and this guy rings your doorbell. So you pick it up. It's a kid, right? He's like, "Oh, you want to come play outside?" Now in that moment, what he has implicitly told you is, I value your physical presence enough to actually pull up to your house and ask you to come out. That means I value your time. That means I expect more from you, right? It was really hard for them to have to get up from their house, get out of the house, come to your house just to ask you to come outside to come play. But what's happened now? The ability to ask someone to come out is just so simple. Like, you can literally pick up my phone, right? And pick it up. Oh, let me text my friend. "Hey, you free 7:30?" Like, that's all you gotta do. That's all you gotta do now, right? There's not much requirement there, and in some cases that's great, right? That was the main reason for social media, right? A way to access people easily, a way to talk to them easily. But what's happened instead is that it's become so addicting to ask online and so easy that now it's also easy to decline. Because when you were in person, right, it was harder to decline that person. Like, "No, I can't, I have this." Like, I remember sometimes I used to beg my mom. She would say like, "Oh, you gotta do this first. I don't know. I used to have Kumon, right? If you're Asian, one sec. If you're Asian, like, it started raining. I had to close my window. If you're Asian, like there's Kumon, right? And she's like, "Oh no, you gotta like finish up your Kumon. You got a class today." I'm like, "No, I really want to play with them. Like, they're right outside. I want to go. They're all outside right now." Your mom was like, "No, you gotta do your Kumon." So I remember I was like, "Okay." So I went and did my Kumon in like 10 minutes. Keep in mind, like, these books, each of them was supposed to take 15. I finished like 2 in 10 minutes because I was just like, bro, I want to go outside. And I'd rush to get outside. But nowadays, it's just like, someone asks you, "Oh, you want to go out?" It's so easy to make an excuse like, "Oh, no, I'm busy." Even if you're not busy. Like, here's the thing, like, even if you're not busy, you're just willing to say, oh no, I'm busy. Because one, it makes you sound important, right? It makes you feel important. Two, it's just really hard to get out and get ready. And three, it's easier to say you're busy because it's easier to lie through text, or at least a white lie through text than through in person. Because if you came to open the door, what that also implicitly suggests is that you're able to open the door, which means you're not busy, right? They can see the TV playing in the back. They can see you dressed up in like your home clothes. So then it's also like the stakes for going out were also much lower then, right? Where it was not expensive. Like, you could do whatever. Go play soccer. Go run around. Go eat some dirt. I don't know, right? Go to the park. Go mess with the little kids. Go push someone off a slide. There wasn't much price involved. But now it's like, you gotta pay for a meal. Oh, I gotta split with them there. I don't know if I have the finances to do that. So pretty much now you're punished for going out, right? Humans work on reward and punishment, which if you're rewarded for, going out in the past, which you were as a kid, now you're punished because you have to pay, you have to drive there, you have to get ready. All this stuff comes in between of you going out, which makes it infinitely harder to accept that. And again, it's made so easy to just decline it as well that you'd rather not. So that's one thing as well. So pretty much what happened, to me at least, you used to have a bunch of kids I'd go out with. Haven't done that much anymore. Right? I used to go out 4 or 5 times a week. Now it's maybe 2 times a week, 3 times a week. And I guess, again, like, because I got more responsibilities, I got more stuff to do, it's just kind of missing now. Because I didn't build it into my life. And I can always shove it off as like, oh no, I'm busy, like I can't, I got something to do. Even though I genuinely could make time for them. I just don't. It's not because I don't want to meet them. I do want to meet them. It's just hard to meet them. It's not their fault, it's not my fault. In some ways it is my fault, but I just didn't build it into my days. I didn't make that a priority, and so it kind of got shoved on the side. And what happens with that is eventually you start losing these friendships. You don't attach to them as much anymore, right? So as you spend less time with them, there's less proximity, which means you don't talk to them as much. You aren't willing to share as much anymore because you guys aren't talking that much. It feels like you guys are just like growing apart. Even though what's actually happened is you guys just don't talk to each other. That's literally it. And so my solution, I think, for this is to deliberately set time aside. Maybe you could do 4 or 5 times a week, right? To just anything. Accept anything for a social thing. You can literally ask them to go for a walk. Do you want to go for a walk? That's such a low effort. Literally tell them, like, do you want to go for a walk? I'm just putting up in what I got right now, whatever clothes I got right now. Like, I'm gonna pull up in slippers and stick to that. Because what you're doing is you're making it really easy for yourself to go out. You're making it cheap if finances are a problem. You're making it something that is easy to stick to, right? It's also easily declinable, sure, because it's such a low effort thing. But I guarantee you there's people out there just like you who are also kind of lonely, who also feel like, they need a social thing with someone. Just walking beside them and just talking to them is more than enough. Like, think what we used to do as kids. That was literally it. What you would do is you would have this shared experience with them, which was maybe playing soccer, maybe basketball, throwing footballs around, running around. I don't even know. I still don't know what we used to do. It was so weird. All you guys used to do was have a shared experience and then communicate through that shared experience. So, for example, you'd be playing soccer and then one of your friends would be like, yo, did you hear about Joshua? Like, he got killed. Not killed, sorry. Why would he be killed? Did you hear about Joshua? He got level 14 rank in Fortnite. You're like, what? And he's like, yeah, he worked on it all day. And then you're like, oh, dude, I'm only like level 12. And then you ask, like, what level are you? And he's like, dude, I'm getting so close to Joshua's level. Like, I'm about to beat him. And then you guys like start planning, like, how can we beat Joshua, And so that was just kind of like the conversations that'd be going on. That was literally it. That's all we did. Shared activity, shared communication. That's it. That's how friendships worked. And I also think there's a few other things that hold people back from good conversations, long conversations. It's just the unwillingness to share. What I've noticed is that whenever I open up about something really personal first, the other person opens up right away. Like I'm talking like instant. Like right away they're willing to share anything. And I don't mean that in like a, oh, you know, you can persuade them, 5 psychology tricks to persuade. I don't mean it like that. I mean it like initiation. You know, people are always looking for someone who can start, who can go ahead and tell them their problem first. Like they want someone to connect to. They want a human, not someone who's perfect. If you were perfect all the time, they don't have a human they're talking to. They're just talking to an embodiment of what you believe yourself to be. So they don't see the dirty hair days. They don't see you're just showing them a polished version of you. And so they always feel like they need to be polished. So what happens with that event where you tell them, okay, just come out, like I'm literally pulling up in my pajamas and some slippers, let's go for a walk. What happens with that is they feel like you're human now, right? It's not so professional anymore. It's not so, I gotta dress up and I gotta be ready for you. I gotta pay for this. We gotta go here. It's like, this is low commitment. Walk with me. That's it. You can tell them to meet up at a park if you don't want to walk. If it's an unsafe neighborhood, I don't know. If you guys can say anywhere, literally. It doesn't even have to be an expensive place. You guys can go out anywhere and do anything. And that's enough as a social experience. You just have to deliberately plan it throughout your week. And yeah, that's pretty much what I was thinking about that. Because, you know, personally, it's gotten a little hard for me to schedule that into my days. And me and my friends, me, PJ, and Sid, we have this thing where like every Friday we try to do something. And a lot of the times, like something just comes up, you know, we're like, one of us is busy or someone has to go somewhere, someone has a party, you know, I got a flight, oh, he's going to Charlotte, oh, I'm going here, right? It's just all this stuff just adds up. And sometimes we don't get to meet each other for 1, 2, 3 weeks, and it sucks. So that's something that you have to prioritize. That's time that you have to really keep precious to yourself, right? You have to preserve that. Where it's like, no, we're going somewhere this weekend, right? You plan it with like a few friends, if you have a few close friends. If you don't, then do very low effort things. But if you do, then you can plan something out. Like, all right, every Friday you guys want to do this. Like PJ literally suggested it a few months ago. He's like, you know, every Friday we should go out somewhere. I'm like, yeah, that sounds like a good idea. Since then, we've been trying to do it. We try to stay consistent, but still sometimes someone's always busy. But we still always end up doing something. We literally just, we say like, I ask like, what's the plan? He's like, I don't know. I'm like, all right. I was like, come pick me up. Let's go drive somewhere. And then we end up having like a great day. You know, it happens. It happens. Like we always find something. It's just that childish curiosity again. No plan. We just go out and do something. What happened last time was, or at least I think this was about a month ago, we went out and we were just like, we had no plans, zero plans. And we just drove to like the local, like this little area. It was like a park with like a few stores around it. And what happened was, apparently there was like a Christmas event. So this was around Christmas. And so we just walked in. We're like, oh, look, all lights, snowflakes, whatever. That little dancing event, we just joined in. We just found it by chance, right? And we're just walking around, and then we see like 3 guys in suits. We're like, who's that? And I was like, is that the mayor? And I asked PJ, and he's like, I'm like, because I don't know what the mayor looks like. He's like, I don't know, man. Let's go talk to him. So we went up to this guy. We're like, hey, are you the mayor? He's like, yeah. I'm like, we just met the mayor of our city. We randomly showed up to this place, went to a random Christmas party, and we found the mayor of our city. So we sat there, we took a few pictures with him. It was so funny. It was like the funniest thing that's ever happened. And that's just the stuff that can happen. That was a shared experience. That was really fun. And that's just one thing. Like, of course, that was probably by chance, but it's possible to happen to you too. Something so random could happen through these unplanned journeys that it could become a memorable experience. So I would encourage, you know, really go out and try to experience those things, because it's definitely worth it. What?